Orb on the Movements of the Earth, episode 22. The day of the fateful battle. Schmidt will take fate into his own hands, and Draco will trust in God. And I guess in a way, both trusting in the other. I'm not sure that's the right question, honestly. No one's okay with it. Yeah, right. For some reason, just instinctually, Thorfinn's I have no enemies comes to mind. You know, I feel like maybe it's a similar route. Again, on this theme that I'm just trying to get to. The deeper you go into what is really meaningful, the more the categories we usually rely on and trust in just dissolve in the wind. You know, in this instance, in the pursuit of something this noble, what is a stranger? In a way, I mean, not to compare, but this is also really hard for Draka, right? It's hard for them to do this. It's hard for her to ask this of them. Remember when our highest ambition was money? We've really wandered since then. She probably simultaneously saw its limitations, but also for what it could be, you know? There's a moment I think about a lot from when I was a really angsty teen. There was this family friend of my mother's, and I remember at one particular dinner, in my, at the time, very angsty, confrontational, opinionated way, was railing about this, that, or the other. I can't even remember what it was. I just had some hot take, and I think at that time, because I was so unconfident, I had sort of an over-aggressive tone when sharing ideas, almost like I was expecting to be attacked, right? Like preemptive defense, which, if I'm being honest, I still have vestiges up to this day, but it was especially bad then. I think I had said something just in a tone that like just really put everyone off, and the patriarch of the family, who was 2 generations above me, was just nodding his head, and I don't remember his words exactly, but he said something to the effect of like, you know, I think you're onto something. I think you're right. You make a very good point. And it came off actually sounding sincere, like he was considering what I was saying. You know, he was looking at the actual content of what I was trying to express rather than being off-put by my attitude. And whether or not it was deliberate, that had such a powerful and sort of opposite effect on me, where I started to feel really ashamed. Like I got what I was looking for, right? Or what I thought I did. I got the acknowledgement. And just getting that acknowledgement was enough of a disarmament that all I was left with was like this lingering feeling of my negative attitude. Trying to explain this as an adult, I think what just happened is I just met a much more powerful force. A lot of people I think would engage with me on the level of my attitude. They would be frustrated by my lack of manners maybe. And also I could just wager a guess that the content of what I was saying at the time was pretty juvenile, but he was a wise man and he was seeing the full picture. He was maybe seeing it in the best light, right? Oh, this could be something that can turn into something great later. It wasn't pandering. It wasn't rewarding of the negativity. It was just like a laser vision into something that maybe was the best it could possibly be, you know, the best thing he could have seen. And I was at least aware enough to get that feeling. And so all the other superficial stuff sort of melted away in it. I think that's maybe similar to what Yolenta felt listening to Draka and talk about money. Yolenta's been there and back. She's taking it at its best. You know, she's looking at it in good faith. She believes in Draka and what Draka can be. She's not taking the immediate moment to be the eternity. And that's a really hard practice, but I think there probably are a lot of moments where that can be applied. It might turn out that there are no moments where that can't be applied. And so it's no wonder to me also that Draka has such high reverence for Yolenta. There's so many little subterranean games that are happening. And Yolenta also felt that herself for heliocentrism. That's really comforting. If I can believe in you to complete this mission and print this book, I really care about it that much, I can focus on what I have to do. And maybe Draka can say the same thing. And no pressure, right? It's not like there's a lot riding on this. People's lives, generations of work and struggle and danger and fear and sacrifice and hopes and dreams, you know? Oh man, the opening just made me think about this. I'll bet at some point during the fight, the sun is gonna rise. Episode 22, neither of you will be known to history. Rough. Shaking. What, are you scared? You? Yeah, I mean they are. You should be scared. You should leave. I think you should leave. Waiting for it. Hail the sun. Oddly sweet and encouraging. Yeah, and Oxy hated the stars, but you know. That's just a bonus. Cute. They're an unlikely pair, but it works really well. It's a repeating thing in the show. Maybe this is another thing that doesn't really need a lengthy investigation, but yeah, it is beautiful to share things that you love. It's really great when people see things and appreciate them in the way you appreciate them. You get to relive them all over again, and you get to enjoy their enjoyment. I think a lot of my earliest and most enduring friendships were based around things like that. One of the closest people in my life, we bonded over the game Xenogears in high school, where he introduced it to me, and then he would come over to my house to sit with me while I played it. That all you got? This guy's spooked. He's gonna bring it down for all of them. This guy's a liability. Like, honestly, I'm telling him to go home. You're just making us look weak, man. Look at them. They look so... Yeah, they are terrifying. They're doing the Spartan thing. Okay, you know about this. You saw 300 too? That's not what happened in that movie. Why don't you go? Okay, after you, but never mind. This is us being vulnerable. Oh my god. Oh my god. He's an assassin. Well, we got our horses. What happens when you panic? They did it. Well, now they can live, maybe. They don't need to die. Well, they should probably keep fighting, but you're weak, son. You talk a big game when you were dunking that dude in the water. Pathetic. Pathetic, Ash. If you want something done, you gotta do it yourself. Leave it to a real man. Actually, I feel like this is worse. I'd rather chase the fleeing duo. I don't want to stay with, like, the fighting warriors. I think I know. Please enjoy the sun. Enjoy the sunrise for me. Huh? Oh, this is scary. You're in the realm of choice for the first time. Maybe that was an escape all along. But this also means it's true courage. You're alive for the first time. Nice. Wow. Get up and get your sword. Oh my god, okay. We know that Schmidt's pretty good with a sword. What's yours? Oh my god, it's very honest. This is good in a crazy moment. Yeah, you bear the weight of it. He afforded him no such courtesy. Nowak also proven to be an amazing fighter. It was going to come down to that from the beginning, wasn't it? Oh no! You in the back, you coward. You're so proud of yourself. Brutal. Oh man, my heart just sunk. Oh my god. You too, Nowak? Well, I think Draka got away. Oh my god, it's horrifying. I was hoping for one last sunrise. How's he talking right now? That didn't mean a lot to Nowak, but it means a lot to me watching. Maybe that partly explains it, come to think of it. Because for a long time, Schmidt's philosophy is kind of confusing, right? There are some circular elements to it. You can't quite pin it down because he can always shift the definition of things. And there's something vaguely nihilistic about it, right? Nothing actually matters. There's no real choice. That's all just conceit. Humans are irrelevant and pointless and stupid. And so, like, you know, whatever happens, happens, and I'm just along for the ride. But he doesn't live that way. He lives like there's really important things to do and there's a lot of great meaning in his life. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to do all this and become the person that he became. As I've talked about a lot in the past because I believe it, I think actually the harder thing is not nihilism or feeling small or insignificant, but trying to contend with the full significance of what we are and the responsibility that that confers for like every single action of our lives. So maybe it was like, you know, you want to touch the sun without getting burned. Maybe in some way it was just overwhelming and too much to bear, too much to actually take responsibility for. It's a little bit of an escape perhaps. So in his final moments, it's sort of like my eyes are open. It's the first time that he shoulders the weight consciously. Nowak bleeding. Nowak down. Nowak not doing so well. So I think Draka's alright. For now. Where are we right now? Who are we coming to talk to? Wait a minute, is this Bishop Anthony? What is the angle here? Money? I mean, money's a good one for Bishop Anthony. Why didn't you say so? Oh yeah, they met. Right. Yeah, I mean, this might actually work. Risky though, and I sort of don't like the idea of teaming up with Anthony here. This might bring him into conflict with the church, oddly enough. You had me at money. It's true for you guys too, huh? When you think that problems are a function of your time, and you realize as much as things change, some things stay the same. Wait till they discover short-form media. Though, like, I feel like public executions would do well. Imagine thinking books are going to be entertainment. They are truly heretical heathens. Imagine reading. It's funny how this is crossing over with Apothecary Diaries too. Especially if you print something sensational. And protection from Nowak, who I don't think you like very much anyway. This is where it gets a little dicey. Yeah, right. And you have previously killed people for this. But think about the prophets. I want you to remember the prophets, Anthony, as I describe this. Yeah, okay, I got it. That rung a bell. Man, to put it all on Anthony's opinion is crazy.
Huh?
Yeah, it's really bold to try to reason with him. To think that, like, it's going to be logic, like a logical appeal against him. I don't think he cares. I don't think that's really his personality. He's not in it for truth. That's not his game. He's in it for pleasure. I mean, he's the person that Draco was describing. His thoughts about right and wrong and God are sort of inconsequential. I don't think he puts that much stock in them himself. Or rather, he does, but it's a stand-in for other things that are way more human, instinctual. And now I have to kill you. Is he actually considering this? Right. There's that effect of everyone watching. You just needed to cross a critical mass of adoptions. There are no hard and set rules. It's just about, like, how many people believe it and how many people you think believe it. If we're just talking purely of survival. And makes money. Don't forget about the money, Anthony. I want you to visualize the coins in your hands. Right, you're gonna be the scapegoat. You'll be the fall girl. And I want 99% of the profits. Yeah, I was waiting for this. That's opening negotiations. Right, yeah, no. That's not gonna stand. Would you settle for 65-35? I mean, that's still great. Especially with the church's backing. That's a lot of money. That's an incredible fortune. It's for Pataki. You have a carrier pigeon? Yeah, weird. This makes us enemies. This makes you enemies with the leader of this church district. Well, I just realized that Draka is going to see the sunrise, and she's going to appreciate it for the first time. Okay. Weirdly, it feels like the tides are sort of shifting against Nowak here. I mean, he never had a friend in Anthony. Quite the opposite. Something tells me they don't like each other very much. Anthony, I think, just kind of got on board with the cause. I mean, for profit, but nevertheless. I mean, I feel like their animosity runs so deep. Nowak being against it would almost be a stronger or as strong a motivation as the money for backing Draka. Just to spite him and watch him squirm. Though, why not both? You can have the money and watch Nowak squirm. Literally red-handed handing you a sack of money? Bad luck, man. It's bad luck for you. You remember when he faked sympathy at the funeral? Is it the printing press? Oh, yeah, that's church doctrine now. Oh, no. That was so 20 years ago, 30 years ago. This is sad. This is sad for you. I do feel a little bit sad, actually. Weirdly, bizarrely. This is crazy for Nowak, who gave his life and everything for this, and his daughter for this. Anthony was there at the funeral. After killing his daughter, Nowak thinks, now it's okay, suddenly. Oof, crazy. That's not very convincing, Nowak. You put your trust in the wrong institution, man. And as much as I hate to admit it, he has a point. as like the least responsible person, he's correct. This is a crazy example, very painful example of the risks of putting aside your responsibility under the justification that you have no choice or this is just the way things are, because you're losing twice. If you're putting aside something important, if you're putting aside some deeper value for a certain course of action or for a specific institution, well, that suggests that that course of action or institution is probably not the most sound or as good as it could be, which means it's not something to put your whole life in or put that much faith or trust in. And what do you know? Those things often have a way of turning back around at you. And so then not only are you just in a bad spot circumstantially, because now you're on the losing end of the very thing you helped to create and strengthen, but you don't really have that much of value yourself to stand on because you traded it. You traded it for some illusion of safety or comfort or ease or whatever it was. There is an order to things, and I don't think it's ever good to trade something of higher value for something of lower value, especially if that thing is fickle. This is a moral example of maybe what's a broader pattern of like misordering things and making the wrong sacrifices. Thinking back, I think the first time I heard this pattern of thought, it was maybe Jim Carrey, I want to say, who was talking about how his father said that instead of doing acting, he should do a secure job. Don't follow your dreams because you'll just end up destitute. But his father ended up losing his quote unquote safe job, and Jim Carrey is Jim Carrey and all his success. And the lesson there is not that commonly held beliefs are easily discardable or always or even often wrong. It's that you don't want to sacrifice the most beautiful thing you can have or that you can see for something that you don't really control or understand anyway. You don't want to trade what you have, your agency, your conscience, etc., for the hope that you'll be gifted some external reward. Nowak put these things to the side and thought he had it figured out, but that thing has turned on him, and what is he left with now? He has nothing.
Yes.
This is going to be really terrifying to the core. Existentially. Don't forget, I'm the bishop.
あるいは世界は固く据えられ決して揺らぐことはない。今ざっと思い当たるのは
We can spin that. It all depends on your interpretation.
万に一つ大地が実際に動いているとしても、その前提で聖書を読み直し、再解釈に努めるのが我々の役目だがな。
He's right for all the wrong reasons. Oh my god, imagine the pain.
そういう姿勢が今信仰に最も必要なんだ。
Now, you tell me this now. I gave everything for this lie.
太陽が中心であるという地動説の考えは三位一体の自然学的な裏付けとも捉える。
He's really running with it. I mean, Novak's already defeated. He's just sticking more nails in. In fact, you might be blasphemous, Nowak, for doubting this.
あなたの父親は
What about him?
ああ、私の父は宇宙論に厳しかったな。
Times change, Live and learn. What can I tell you?
何か挫折を経験して空への承継は
It's a very astute criticism.
あるところに宇宙論に特別厳しい権力者がいて、運悪く彼の管轄内で地動説を研究した者たちが異端者の烙印を。
Yep, and it's gonna repeat it. It's,
人々は地動説は真偽だという物語を信じるようになった。
Yep, critical mass. That's how that works with ideas.
この騒動は教会や人々の信仰を守る聖戦などではなく、一部の人間が起こしたただの勘違いだったということになる。
It was just there to protect that dude's ego. And that's your whole life. Sorry to break it to you.
フベルト、ラファウ、オクジ、バデーに地動説で処刑されたものの名だ。私は確かに殺したんだ。
Shouldn't have done that, man. Really shouldn't have killed them. Shouldn't have believed what we told you.
私の娘も。
Yeah, also my daughter. Yeah, man, Nowak has nothing to stand on right now.
私は用心深い。ついさっき、君の記憶が残ってるか調べさせ、見つけ次第処分しろと指示した。
Imagine Draka listening to this right now. And there's nothing you can do about it. Maybe you should take a seat.
本当に私だけなのか。地動説の迫害を実行したのはこの世で私だけ。
Oh my god. This is so much worse than anything I could have imagined for Nowak. It's worse than
他の
death.
時代に生まれていれば様々な可能性があった。しかしそうはならない。それが運命というものだ。
Oh my god. Oh my god.
君らは歴史の登場人物じゃない。
I mean... Oh my god, that's brutal. Oh. Oh. Oh, I'm flabbergasted. That was terrible of you, Nowak. Why'd you do that? You did all that by yourself. Bad luck, I guess. Anyway, now I'm off to make billions of coin. This is going to be crazy to say, but for Nowak's sake, I almost wish he did take pleasure in what he did, as I once theorized. You know, I thought he was making excuses and he enjoyed his work and he liked the torture. Turns out he didn't, which makes it so much worse because that's what he's going to think about for the rest of his life. Those are the faces he's going to see. He remembered their names immediately. In fact, there's multiple interpretations of this, but they came to his lips before his daughter. Now, they could be because his daughter is just harder to say out loud. It also could be because he didn't kill his daughter directly, and so that's not haunting him as much in that way as the murders he committed with his own hands. And what was it all for? It didn't mean anything. It didn't prevent anything. Turns out we like heliocentrism now. All my homies love heliocentrism. Suddenly. You hate heliocentrism? What the hell's wrong with you, man? You killed how many people? Jeez, that's terrible, Nowak. This is not the first time I've talked about this idea, but I think this is, to memory, the most subtly but devastatingly painful example of this I could think of. Just personally, on a very small scale, I don't think I've ever gotten away with this where there's something I really want. I want someone's approval, or I want a girl to like me or something. And so I overlook something that I think is terrible, or even worse, sometimes I do something that I think is terrible because I have the expectation it will get me the reward I want. Not only does that just leave me feeling terrible, but like I can't ever remember a time where I actually got the thing I was expecting to get. So what the hell was the point even? Not that that second part even matters, right? Because I think the trading of the more important thing is the real loss. But even if somehow you made it past that, you still aren't even getting the thing that you're sacrificing it for most of the time, because you're putting your life in the wrong hands. You're putting your life in the hands of things that you know are wrong. So like, what is the big surprise when it doesn't go well? You know, when it comes to interpersonal relationships with people, well, like if people watch you compromising yourself and doing things that are terrible just because they suggest it, they see that you're on the hook and they don't respect you. And because they're probably the wrong people if they're asking you to do these things, well, they now have just confirmed that you're someone they can sink their hooks into. And so they sink their hooks in deeper, you know, they take more flesh, and now you have momentum. So you're doubling down, you're giving up more of the things that are valuable to you, which are the things that make you strong and insulate you from evil, to seek that thing that is terrible. And that's a pretty quick, steep slope into the abyss. Let's say you're dating someone who's not the kindest and has manipulative tendencies, let's say, and they're threatened by a friend you have and they ask you to cut them off. Okay, well, you cut them off. That doesn't make that person like you anymore. In fact, it thrills them that they got you to do that. It encourages that behavior. They don't love you anymore. You're more of a tool or puppet, so there's less respect. And now you've lost a friend. You've lost something that actually was a beacon of light in your life that you could have leaned on to insulate yourself from this terrible relationship. The same, I think, can be true of movements, right? You say all the right things, you do all the right things because you just want to feel good, you know, you want approval, but there's something nagging you that's not quite right, you know, it doesn't feel that good. You catch yourself overlooking things, taking mental shortcuts. You're scared to be alone in your thoughts. You're scared to be chastised. And so you lend your power to things you don't really believe in, or, you know, don't fully like. And what do you know? One day the pendulum swings and that's turned back on you. There was never any higher anchoring there. It was a much more superficial game of attention and power or something like that. And what do you know? You just happen to be in the crosshairs now. You're now the pariah. Anthony's not a nice person, and he's not doing this because he actually cares about the truth. He's doing this because it's profitable. But like, amazingly, what he's saying is right. This is largely a result of Nowak not taking responsibility. And this is the culmination of all of those excuses that he made.